A 70-year-old self-made millionaire, Sarah, notices her daughter-in-law, Jessica, secretly poisoning her champagne at a retirement party. Sarah quietly switches glasses, causing Jessica's mother, Helen, to collapse instead. Sarah then executes a meticulous counterplan: legal protections, surveillance, a private investigation, and a sting operation that ends with Jessica's arrest and her son Michael exposed for conspiring to seize control of her assets through guardianship and a complicit psychiatrist. Months later, Sarah has secured her autonomy and wealth, kept a connection to her granddaughter, and reframed aging as power, not vulnerability. I always thought betrayal would tiptoe in. Whisper first, then strike. Turns out, it smiles across a champagne tower. My name is Eleanor Hart. 70 last month. I sold my firm on Tuesday. Tonight, my house hums like a beehive in pearls. String lights scatter gold on marble, a quartet rakes out Vivaldi like it's trying to impress my chandelier, and everyone I've ever out-negotiated is nibbling smoked salmon and calling me legend. Let me host, Mia had insisted. My daughter-in-law can frost a room with charm. She handled the invites, the caterer, the bar, the musician, the rented glassware. You just relax, she'd said, all devotion and teeth. Daniel, my son, had kissed my cheek. You deserve to be celebrated. Now the gift bags sit neatly by the door. My friends are flushed and generous. I am surrounded by every marker of a life that worked out, except for the prickle that rides my spine when I catch Mia alone at the champagne table. Her purse is open. Her shoulders tighten. There is a quick, purposeful tilt of the wrist, delicate as a jeweler setting a stone. A tiny bottle disappears. She glances left and right like a child caught with a cookie. Then, smile back on, she lifts a single flute and turns. Eleanor, we have to toast. Your glass. She presses it into my fingers. The base is cold. The rim has a nearly invisible crescent scar I know too well. I've had that chip for years. Staff always said it for me because I like the ritual of consistency. The bubbles fizz, fine and theatrical. People gather. Mia's hand lingers just a beat too long on mine, like she's hoping to feel something pass between us. I hold her gaze. Her pupils flare. Her pulse beats in her throat. I've been underestimated by younger, prettier things before. It never ends well for them. I don't drink. You'll make a speech, won't you? Someone calls. Laughter ripples. I raise the glass, say something brisk about gratitude and grit, and how no award matters more than a steady paycheck for your people. We clink. Mia relaxes. Daniel looks relieved. Music swells. I drift through warmth and chatter until a neighbor's question turns Mia away. I set my glass beside another on a tray near the kitchen archway, count 2 beats, and switch them. Not my glass anymore. Someone else's. No flourish. No guilt. Just the cool, clean slide of contingency. It takes 6 minutes. Claudia arrives late. Mia's mother. She's all perfume and pearls, always vaguely lost in a room with more than 4 voices. She reaches for the nearest flute and compliments the bouquet as if she knows what that means. She sips, grimaces slightly, then covers the reaction with a joke about expensive tastes. For minutes later she folds, slow at first, then fast, knees striking marble, glass shattering like a cue for silence. And in the perfect stillness that follows, Mia's scream is so convincing it almost fools me. Almost. The paramedics work with clipped efficiency. Someone closes the terrace doors. A neighbor prays. Daniel's phone keeps buzzing in his jacket pocket, and he doesn't answer. My kitchen becomes a clinic, then a corridor, then a memory. At St. Augustine's, the ER doctor says the phrase you never want to hear at a party: acute intoxication. He mutters something about plant alkaloids. Not alcohol. Not shellfish. Not dairy. Something a person has to choose. Mia paces like the floor is on fire. Designer heels counting down her nerves. Her face can hold both terror and calculation. It's a talent. It was a reaction she insists to anyone who will take this sentence off her hands. She takes vitamins. She said the champagne tasted unusual. I file that word away. Unusual is careful. It leaves room for the lie to breathe. Daniel sits beside me in the waiting area, hands knotted. He looks like he's trying to believe in a version of the world where this is nobody's fault. My son has always been an architect of hope. He builds better in his head than in concrete. Mom, he says softly, you should stay with us tonight. Because the world is dangerous, I say. I do not ask who made it so. Back home, I open a new bottle of champagne and pour a small glass I won't touch. I set the party bottle aside like a relic. Then I make lists. Not on a laptop. Paper and pen. Old habits sing truer under pressure. Assets, locked. Accounts, diversified. Health proxies, current but due for sharpening. Cameras, scheduled for morning. Attorney, Ruiz. Call it 9. I sleep in tower bursts, wake with a plan and an ache I can't put down. Aging is a study in controlled loss. But surrender is elective. At 9, my lawyer picks up on the first ring. Eleanor, congratulations again. How was the eventful, I say, and tell him. I keep my voice dry. He hears the storm anyway. Evidence, he says. Preserve it. We'll need chain of custody if we want law enforcement to do anything meaningful. I can deliver the open bottle. And we'll shore up your defenses. Capacity evaluation now. Updated directives with triggers no one can bully past. And if your son and daughter-in-law angle for guardianship, we'll make that path expensive. I picture Daniel at 9, muddy sneakers on my white rug, crying because he'd cracked a Lego cathedral he couldn't finish. I could always fix what he broke. The thought sits heavy. Tonight I might have to let him watch something shatter that I refuse to repair. By noon the cameras are installed. By 2 my new will is signed. The trusts click into place like a vault door. Charities smile in the margins. At 4, Daniel brings pastries. He chooses his words like defusing a bomb. We've been researching a community. Sunset Grove. It's safe. And the financial entrance fee covers everything. We could help with the paperwork. Power of attorney is standard. I study his face. Fear there. Love too. And something weaker threading through them both. What if I say no? I ask. He swallows. We'll try again. When he leaves, relief doesn't come. Resolve does. I call Nadine Cho, a PI who once saved me $7 million and a lawsuit. I want everything, I say. Debts. Insurance. Side deals. And if a certain Dr. Keats shows up, I want his billing codes. Give me 48 hours, she says. And Eleanor? Yes. Be careful where you set your glass. Claudia knocks at 10 the next morning, standing very straight over her smallness like etiquette might hold her up. She looks better than a woman who hit a floor should look. Better than a woman who almost drank my death. I remember the taste, she says as soon as I pour her tea. Like chewing a leaf that hates you. Jessica, Mia, she corrects herself, flushed with old habits, was near the table. She hid something in her purse. Did she mean it for me? Her eyes search my face for mercy. Mercy is not a lie. She meant it for me, I say. I switch the glasses. Claudia blinks, once, twice. She gathers her breath with both hands. My daughter believes money cures character. She's been talking about your sale. About Daniel's slow season. About how unfair it is, at your age, to make decisions alone. She's trembling now. She asked me last month if you had updated your will. Something in me goes both soft and steel. Thank you, I say. You didn't have to come. I did, she says, jaw set. I won't watch her become a ruin. When she leaves, Nadine calls. Buckle in, my PI says, cheerful as a locksmith. Your kids are upside down. House refinanced 3 times. Helic maxed. 80 plus in revolving debt. Daniel's firm is bleeding. And your DL took a $500,000 life insurance policy on you 6 months ago. Beneficiary, her. Filed as caregiver. Anything on a psychiatrist? Dr. Oliver Keats. Geriatric. Consults for families who need clarity. Daniel paid him 4 times in the last 8 weeks. Lovely paper trail. And the bottle? You deliver it yet? Today. Do that. If it's what I think it is, you'll have a detective before dinner. I drive the open bottle to Ruiz's office. We log it, seal it, and he walks it down to the precinct with a letter that uses words cops respect, chain of custody, suspected adulteration, victim statement, Medical corroboration. I go home and wait for gravity. Daniel texts, "Can we come by at 3? Mia has the facility contracts." I reply, "3 works." At 2:57, the doorbell rings. Mia is impeccable grief. Daniel is all earnestness and edges. They fan out the Sunset Grove paperwork like a glossy, modern trap. "Here's the entrance fee agreement," Mia says. "They'll need your asset disclosures. And the power of attorney," Daniel adds softly. "Just in case you ever need us to help." "Of course," I say. I let my hands hesitate on the page as if my resistance lives in paper, not blood. Mia watches like a hawk dressed as a dove. I sign. Soft, steady. The air leaves the room when my pen lifts. Daniel exhales like he's been holding his breath since childhood. Mia touches his knee. I fold the documents. Set them in a neat stack. We all wait for the future to arrive. It rings at the front door, 5 minutes early. Detective Rosa Delgado stands on my porch, rain on her coat and purpose in her voice. "Mrs. Hart," she says, eyes sliding past me to the living room where the 2 people I love and fear most sit side by side. "We need to talk about your party." In my chest, something tight loosens and something looser tightens. I open the door wide. Detective Delgado is not the dramatic type. She asks for the bottle provenance, the hospital report, the guest list. She sets a recorder on the coffee table and advises us we're not under arrest. Yet, her partner bags the signed documents like they're shells on a beach. Mia keeps pivoting to outrage. "This is an invasion. My mother had a fainting spell." "Your mother had oleander in her blood," Delgado says calmly. "That's not a spell, it's a choice." The room chills. Daniel stares at the rug as if answers might be woven into the pile. I want to touch his shoulder. I want to shake him. "We tested the bottle," Delgado continues. "Oleander extract present at significant concentration. We also found residue on one particular flute. We're waiting on fingerprints. We have witnesses who observed unusual handling of glassware." Mia's hands fold into her lap, fingers tight enough to hurt. "Who would do that?" Delgado looks at me. "Mrs. Hart. I saw her with a vial," I say. "At the table. Before the toast. I didn't drink." Mia barks a laugh that breaks midway. "You're imagining." Delgado slides a manila folder to the center of the coffee table. Inside, a life insurance application with Mia's signature and my name. A premium schedule. A note, caregiver. Another document, line items from Dr. Oliver Keats' practice, consultations labeled capacity concerns. Daniel flinches like he's been struck. His eyes finally lift to me, water bright. "Mom, you paid a psychiatrist 3 months ago," I say. My voice wants to break. I don't let it. "Before you mentioned Sunset Grove. Before your concern had a name. It was a precaution," he whispers. "And not to hurt you. To protect you if you say the word you mean," I say. Declined. Slipped. Became an obstacle. He closes his eyes. Mia grips his knee hard enough to leave crescents. "This is a witch hunt," she hisses. "We were trying to help. You were trying to harvest," I say, too tired for poetry. Delgado clears her throat. "Mrs. Hart, may I see the power of attorney you signed today?" I hand her the stack. She scans, pauses at a paragraph that looks innocuous unless you know where to squint. Her mouth twitches, almost a smile. "Your attorney is thorough. It's the decoy Ruiz drafted. It grants Daniel control over a dormant account with a ceremonial dollar. Everything else? Locked behind booby-trapped trusts that vaporize into charity if a court sniffs undue influence." Mia mistakes Delgado's reaction. "See," she says, brightening with false hope. "All above board." The detective tucks the papers away. "Nothing about this is above board." We sit with the hum of the refrigerator, the distant hiss of rain on the maple outside, the little noises a house makes when it listens. Delgado's partner returns from the porch where he's been on the phone. He nods. She stands. "Mrs. Hart, thank you for your cooperation." "Ms. Rivera," Mia's maiden name, "we're going to need you to come with us." Daniel surges to his feet. "On what grounds?" "Attempted murder," Delgado says. "And conspiracy." Mia goes very still. For a second, she is a little girl who has thrown a rock and is shocked the window shattered. Then the mask returns. Eleanor, she says, voice low. You're making a mistake you can't afford. I meet her eyes. I already paid. With trust. There's no refund policy. They cuff her. Daniel makes a sound I haven't heard since he was 5 and lost in a department store. I do not move. Mr. Hart, Delgado adds, softer. Don't leave town. We'll be in touch. The door closes behind them. Rain and silence replace them. Daniel sinks onto the couch, face in his hands. For the first time since the toast, I let myself feel what I've contained. I am victorious. I am wrecked. Tell me you didn't know, I say after a long, unkind stretch of quiet. Daniel stares at the window. I knew something, he says. His voice is ash. I knew we were drowning. I knew Mia had ideas. She said if you moved somewhere safe with medical support, it would be easier for everyone. She said Dr. Keats would give us clarity if you fought us. He swallows. She didn't say poison. You saw texts, I say. Plans. Maybe not the method. The pressure. The timing. He nods once, a sharp, small break. She said by the end of the week you'd want a different plan for your life. She said fear can be a teacher. Fear can be a weapon, I reply. You can swing it without knowing who it kills. He rubs his face like he could erase it. I thought it would be a scare. A staged break-in. Something. I didn't ask. I didn't want to know. That's not innocence, I say. That's appetite wearing earmuffs. He flinches. I want to stop. I don't stop. You were willing to let me be terrorized into compliance. I was willing to sleep, he says hoarsely. To pay the mortgage. To keep my kid in school. To stop getting phone calls from creditors. To stop pretending everything I built isn't a sandcastle. We're both breathing too loud. The house leans in. He looks at me finally, a grown man with a little boy's eyes. Mom, I love you. I made a ruin of that love. I can't fix what Mia did. I don't know if I can fix what I did. But I want to try. I don't need your declarations, I say. I need your choices. He nods. What do you want me to do? That line is a trap. It always is. It puts the weight of his backbone on my hands. I set it down. What do you think a man who's hurt his mother should do? I ask. He thinks. He actually thinks, like he's not waiting for me to rescue him. Tell the detective everything, he says finally. Hand over my phone. Hand over my accounts. Admit what I knew. What I pretended not to. And then accept what comes. It's an answer with bones. Call her, I say. Now. He dials. Voice shaking, he leaves a message for Delgado offering full cooperation, passwords, the works. He sets the phone down like it weighs the same as his future. There's something else, I say, gentler. The POA you took today, it governs an account with $1. His mouth opens, closes. He laughs once, without heat. Of course it does. My money is in trusts you can't touch. If a court ever declares me incompetent under pressure from you, the funds vaporize to charity. That's good, he says, surprising me. That's good. We sit for a long time, refuse to say anything pretty to dress the wound. There's dignity in the nakedness. The doorbell rings again. Not police this time. Ruiz. My lawyer stands in the foyer with a folder and a face that knows how to deliver both victory and cost. He looks between us, reading the room like a deposition. Eleanor, he says. They charged Mia. Toxicology is a slam dunk. And Daniel. Detective Delgado wants you downtown. Daniel stands. I know. He turns to me. All the words a man uses to end or begin live in his throat. He chooses one I didn't expect. Thank you, he says. For what? For not letting me keep being the man I was an hour ago. He leaves with Ruiz. The house exhales. So do I. I am alone with the expensive echo of having been right. It is not a balm. It is a boundary. 3 months later, the roses come back like they were never gone. I hire a gardener with a laugh like a creek and away with thorn things. The security cameras blink red like tiny guardian eyes. The trusts hum, buried and busy, their clauses coiled and ready. Mia pleads out. 15 years. I attend the hearing, not for spectacle, but for the mathematics of closure. She looks at me once, eyes like chips of a broken plate, and I recognize hunger's last stage, bitterness. Daniel takes a deal. 3 years. He told everything. He did not ask me for a letter. He did not blame. He cried, yes, and then he didn't. I sat in the back row and watched my son choose a scaffold and start to climb. Lily, my granddaughter, calls from a hallway somewhere bright with lockers. Grandma, I got into the legal studies summer program. I want to help people keep their money safe. Like you. I close my eyes and swallow 5 different kinds of grace. Come stay with me, I say. We'll practice cross-examining the dog. Claudia and I meet for coffee on Tuesdays. We speak in present tense, a small rebellion. Our daughters, our sons. Our gardens, our spines. She's drafting a talk for the community center, how to spot a financial predator when they share your last name. At 70, power looks less like conquest and more like clarity. It's the form you sign in your own hand. The glass you don't lift when the room insists you must. The camera you install without apologizing for the optics. The no you do not explain. The yes you declare to the girl who wants to grow up unafraid of being called difficult when she's simply being safe. On a warm evening that smells like basil and whetstone, I take my book to the porch and ignore it. The sky does its slow theater. The neighborhood dog commits to a campaign against squirrels. My phone dings. Lily, Grandma, do you ever wish it had gone differently? I think a long time. Then, I wish I hadn't needed to be brave. But since I did, I'm grateful I was. Typing dots. Then, me too. I set the phone face down and watch a bee decide which rose to love. I started this story thinking survival was the win. It is. But there's something else, softer and sharper, the quiet economy of living well in the wreckage, of making your house a fortress and a haven in the same breath, of teaching the next pair of hands where to put the weight so the whole thing holds. I finish my water. The evening closes like a familiar book. Inside, the cameras see nothing dangerous, the locks hold nothing out I want in, and the woman who is supposed to be easy prey brushes her teeth, sets her alarms, and sleeps. Powerfully. Peacefully. And absolutely on her own terms.